Joining me now to discuss live here is Dr. Victoria Dunkley. She is a child psychiatrist and author of the book, Reset Your Child's Brain. Doctor, welcome to The Story Is. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Alex. Happy to be here.
So your reaction, what do you think of what Australia's doing?
Well, I mean, those of us in the trenches are very, very excited to see this. I mean, my job today is much harder than it was even 10 years ago, or way harder than it was 20 years ago. It's very hard to get kids better without addressing screen time, and social media is a big component of that.
And when you say reset, what you're talking about is you advise families to take 4 weeks off, right?
That's right. So no matter what they come in with, whether it's depression, anxiety, ADHD, or whatever their complaints are, the first thing we do is just take them off all screens for 4 weeks and then see what's left. So some kids their symptoms might disappear completely. Other kids, their symptoms might be cut down and they still might have a diagnosis, but they are functioning much better. And a lot of times we can get away with not using medication versus, how they looked previously.
So literally, you don't need meds, you just need to get off the screens.
Yes.
And you see real results usually, you say within about 2 weeks?
Yes, especially for younger kids, you can see results really within a few days. But even with teens.
They physically change.
They physically change, yes. They start going to bed earlier. Their mood is better. Parents report that they are more engaged. They come out of their room more. They're happier. A lot of parents, when it comes to screens, they'll describe their kid as that they have to walk around on eggshells around their child because the littlest thing will set them off. I'm sure many parents can identify with that feeling. That gets much, much better. So a lot of these symptoms that look like they have ADHD or anxiety or depression go away completely.
So the Prime Minister of Australia talked about, okay, all these kids that are used to spending all this time, what are they going to do now? He's got some suggestions.
Above all, make the most of the school holidays coming up rather than spending it scrolling on your phone. Start a new sport, learn a new instrument, or read that book that has been sitting there on your shelf for some time. And importantly, spend quality time with your friends and your family, face to face.
I mean, that's a great idea. I'm sure there's a lot of kids that are listening to that are like, nah, I'd rather be on my phone. I mean, for kids that are used to being on their phone, when you work with them, do they rebel? I mean, because it's almost like an addiction, right? You miss it.
It's not like it. It is an addiction, yes. Yeah. And so not only are the reward circuits being activated and those addiction pathways are activated, which you can see on brain scans too, like it really is an addiction and causes brain changes. But really these days their psyche is kind of growing around their phone and social media. Mm-hmm. So as they grow up, their psyche, that's one of the reasons why they're so fragile, because their psyche is not developing normally. So the thought of that, pulling that away to them, it's very anxiety producing. But kids really are adaptive, and they really do adapt faster than even parents think, and certainly faster than they think.
Speaking of parents, we spoke to some parents in Australia. Here's some of what they had to say.
We'd always regulated media in the public interest, and I think what the government's trying to do is to return some of the public interest.
I don't think bans tend to work. When it's a blanket decision, it doesn't take into account the nuance and the variables and people's individual situations. And frankly, people tend to find a way around bans if they really want to.
I think it cuts kids off from the community more than forcing them back out in real life. I think it just cuts them off from support as well that they could be accessing.
Look at that argument of it cutting kids off from resources, from interaction, because there is some positive to social media, right?
Well, I think that there's a lot more positives to banning it or limiting it, removing it altogether. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for a long time with hundreds of families. And when families try to cut back, we don't see the same results as when you just get rid of it altogether. It's really like they have to mourn the loss of it before they accept it and then actually start doing other things.
You can't do it halfway, based off what you're saying.
I think cold turkey works better. And the fact that everyone's doing it together in Australia is huge, because they're not going to be the only one doing it. And also the fact that the parents aren't the one making them do it, that's also helpful, because what we know is the parent-child bond is being affected. It's being disrupted. So when you replace the circuits that are being hijacked by screens with the parent-child bond, you're literally rewiring the brain. So it's helpful in that regard too.
It is interesting to think how far we've come from COVID, when we literally forced kids to use
Right.
screens.
Yep.
Said you government mandate have to do this, versus now, when at least in Australia, they're taking them away. So very interesting. Victoria Dunkley, author of Reset Your Child's Brain. So great to talk to you. What a
Thank
big
you,
night,
Alex.
big day for this whole
Yes.
thing. To other news now,